Good morning to Africa, good morning to all Africans outside their respective homes. This is Sembian's VIP magazine, VIP TV in this part of the world, in the Republic of the Gambia. And this morning we are in a close conversation with a charity organization called Legs for Africa, and we sit with the CEO, Mr. Julian Nowell. We want to know what his mission is on this continent. This is a conversation, a platform that is meant to speak on social, moral, economic, and political issues affecting our one continent and finding some of the best remedies forward. It remains Tony Miket Howard, your own brother and son, who is tasked with this responsibility of inspiring the current generation of young Africans in the actualization of their respective dreams. Not to waste the time, we turn the podium over to Mr. Julian Nowell to introduce himself better, not forgetting his beautiful wife. Welcome to this platform, sir.
Thank you very much. Just great that you've taken an interest in what the organisation does and everything. Thanks.
That's beautiful. Madam, can you say hi to our viewers here?
Hello, everybody.
That's beautiful. Quickly, your foundation is currently in Africa. I learned that you had 21 good days traveling from Europe and the UK to the Gambia. How was it like as you traveled along the route, crossing multiple African nations and entering your final destination? What was the experience like?
I think I've done this route before, but what I really enjoy when I do it each time is you develop new friendships with, first of all, with fellow travellers, then with Africans who are helping you if you're in trouble, and then the thing that is a real pleasure is English people who are a bit nervous about Africa, who are nervous about driving for 21 days or more, thinking that it's going to be a bit dangerous, and they slowly, through those 21 days, change from being nervous and worried to being totally relaxed. So when they reach the finishing line, they know that life is a lot easier for travellers here than they might think, and the friendships they make with their fellow travellers and with those in Africa.
That's beautiful. How was the experience like too?
So I set off from the UK on Boxing Day.
Okay.
And left the UK, travelled through France and Spain, which are familiar environments for me.
Okay.
And then came through to Morocco, then Western Sahara, and then Mauritania, Senegal, and now beautiful Gambia. And along the way, I was driving a car that had a lot of problems.
Okay.
And every time we had a problem with the car, somebody was there to help us. And we've made firm friends along the way. And it just showed me that wherever you go, there's good in people. And everybody helps each other. There's very few bad people in the world. The wonderful thing is that when you're in difficulty, there's always somebody there.
Somebody to help.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So now let's consider your trip once more. What was the most memorable thing that you saw as you traveled, Mr. Nowell?
I think when you've had a really bad time, and borders are the bad days because the formalities take a lot of time and borders are quite expensive in terms of the payments. Some are legal payments, others are not so legal payments. Then you get through the border and, for instance, from Mauritania into Senegal, just getting through the border late at night and then staying at this campsite, and the next morning you can see wildlife, and you get out of your tent or your hut, and just seeing the sea and being among friends. They will come through the border with you, so that's a real pleasure. I think the desert.
That's beautiful.
Desert in Mauritania is another beautiful.
Yeah, huge one. Yeah, that's the voice of Mr. Julian Nowell from the UK, not forgetting his beautiful wife, Hilary Nowell. They are in a conversation with us this morning, and that's Sembian's VIP magazine, VIP TV, and I'm Tony Miket Howard. Quickly, you have a foundation that is currently on this continent to help vulnerable people, and it's called Legs for Africa. Why that brand name?
We don't run that. That's a charity in England that approached us to
facilitate their projects.
Because they needed to. We have discarded items in England, prosthetic legs, and the Legs for Africa charity brings those out to Africa, to the Edward Francis Small Teaching hospital
yes.
in Banjul,
Yeah.
and they remake them to fit people who need them in Gambia,
Okay.
and also in Mali and Senegal as well.
Okay.
And so they approached us to say, would we put a box of these parts
Okay.
in the car? So we delivered those a couple of days ago,
Okay.
and we're going to be working with them more because it's inspired us. What we saw at the workshop has inspired us to help more, and it's just a little bit that we can do.
That's beautiful. Mr. Julian, can we hear from you?
Yes, I think it's just such a good idea because prosthetic limbs are really expensive from a technical point of view. Just the metal joints are really high tech, and it's the sort of thing that should have a life of a very long time because they're built solidly. And to see them taken out of use by the British Health Service when they have a life left in them is a shame, really. So it just makes perfect sense. And then as well as prosthetic legs, it's always nice to find drugs, bandages, dressings, all
To complement it.
to complement it.
Okay.
And really, if people are driving out on what is for them a holiday, if they've got space in their car, why not?
Okay. That's a beautiful experience. That is the team member you hear from here right now. He talks about Legs for Africa. They brought materials for hospitals to be able to help vulnerable people, people who do not have the kind of financial muscles to manage themselves in that area, of, the health area of their own life. On a very quick one, you've spent close to 72 hours in the Gambia. Along your way, just before coming to Africa for the first time, especially Madam Nowell here, your first experience here, you must have been told, or you must have had some speculations about the entire continent. Some wrong assumption, by the way. Now, based on your experience on the way all the way down from Mauritania and Senegal to the Gambia, did you see some of the wrongs? Did you see a practical manifestation of some of the wrong assumption you must have had prior to your travel to this continent?
Yes.
And what were those assumptions?
I think those assumptions were not so much malicious, it's lack of knowledge. So any country about which you know very little, you might be worried about crime and security, and you'd be worrying about the bad roads. And this happens on any long journey. You really, if you've never been to a country, you don't know what to expect. And they were wrong because, for instance, in Morocco, the way that Moroccans come to help, if the car's broken down, it's a far better experience than going to a British garage when your car's broken down. They'll say, "Nah, I can't do it for a week or so." And then in Mauritania, again, there's just a sort of help, just not necessarily wanting any money, just to help you on the right route or
To
whatever.
make sure you have a smooth sail.
And
As
so-
to ensure that you have a smooth sail with your travel.
Exactly. And so I think this idea that people you've never met before, Hillary was saying that 95% of the world's population are good rather than bad, and that's really evident in West Africa, where pretty well everyone you meet, you get a really good experience with.
Okay. Do you want to add something to
Yeah, for me-
speculations you had before traveling? And
Yeah,
the
for
practical
me, I
evidence?
think that difference in people creates a fear. And we need to overcome those fears because they're unfounded. It's just not necessary. We're all humans. Like you said to me earlier, we've all got red blood.
Of course.
And, we're all human beings, all looking out for each other and enjoying life. And
That's beautiful. Now, I'm going to catch you on the spot right now. You come from Europe with absolutely no African background whatsoever. A Michael Howard comes from Africa with absolutely no European background whatsoever. If you were to design a comparative analysis of the two continents based on your very minute or small experience right now, which of the two continents would you say is warmly hospitable than the other?
Yeah. I would say Africa is more hospitable than Europe, and it's hard to say why that is the case. I think I have no idea the reason.
There
but
must
I
be
just-
underlying factors responsible for that.
Yes, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know the reasons, but
Mm.
it is true that I think a lot of Western countries, people are too busy going about their daily work to notice anyone else.
Mm.
So London, Paris, Berlin. If you're wandering around looking lost, you'll just be ignored. But
It doesn't happen here.
it doesn't happen here.
Somebody wants to
Nouakchott,
help.
Yeah, yeah.
Banjul, anywhere there'll be people smiling and helping, and that's a really good thing. And not everything is wonderful about West Africa. I worry about the corruption because is probably more corruption than say in the UK. But my knowledge is so little, I wouldn't have any idea how much corruption there is or how to solve it. Yeah.
What would you say in terms of hospitality, Europe and Africa? Now, do you support the idea of Mr. Julian Nowell?
Well, I've just been made so welcome. You go for a walk on the beach and people talk to you, whereas you wouldn't have that in Europe.
You won't have it in Europe?
No, because people are closed. And then there's no curiosity about people. And here everybody wants to find out where you've come from, what you do, what children you've got, and then when you hear about your adventure, they want to hear more. But the politics aside, for me, we all need to wake up. On my journey through Africa, I've noticed how much plastic there is.
Okay.
And that's been quite shocking for me. So I think as humans, we need to work out how to look after our planet and combine together and work a solution out, because it's been shocking how much plastic
Our streets are littered.
Yeah, I mean St. Louis, the plastic around the beautiful painted boats and in the rivers. On some beaches, there's been horrendous plastic, and it's so sad that we're killing our planet, and we're all contributing to that. So we have to find a solution
remedy
to
to that.
this. Yeah.
That is the voice of Mrs. Nowell. She says that our streets, our roads, our rivers are quite too littered, and it's important that we try to protect our environment, because the more we protect it, the safer and better we are as a people. So it's quite too important that we take the mantle of responsibility to realize that we have a tax to cleaning our environment. And she also spoke about the warm hospitality of South Africa as compared to Europe and the rest of the world in terms of how open-minded we are. Africans are always willing and prepared to listen to the next person, what your concerns are, what do you need and stuff like that, willing to help. They don't find that in their environment because everyone is quite too busy running about their daily activities and all that. Quickly, this would be the very funny question. If you left from here today, back for the UK, and you were in an examination room, and the instructor says, write an article about your experience in Africa, what would the title be for the article?
That title would be... my mind's gone completely blank. I had a really good title for you, and now I can't think of it. But I think...
One world, one people. That would be my title, I think.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Nowell
Yeah.
says, one world, one people.
Yeah.
Can you simplify that for our viewers? What do you mean by one world, one people?
Eradicate fear about other people from your life and from your mind, and just enjoy learning from each other and from each other's life experiences, being more open.
Guess you're thinking about what your title would be.
Yes, I still don't have a good idea, but I think little things like a handshake. The handshake is a sort of sign of friendship, and that's, really common in West Africa. It's sort of even with people that you might be a bit worried about, like police authorities or border guards or whatever. And yes, just realizing that whatever uniform people are wearing, they're all on the same side as you, and that's sort of quite important.
That's beautiful. That's the voice of the authority of Legs for Africa. Before we take leave of you, what would you say to young people of the continent, Africa, that have the wrong assumption that success or breakthrough or prosperity can only be found in your continent?
I think it's very difficult to sort of say to people, you know, ignore material possessions, because the whole concept in the West is of companies creating a brand, then selling it, and actually making quite a profit out of. So they're getting richer and you're getting poorer by buying their goods. I'm thinking of McDonald's, Adidas, Pepsi, all the big brands. So really, pursue your own goal, help each other, because if you help other people, they will help you. And at the end of the day, material possessions are the least important thing. What's more important is just achieving your goal. Could be medical, could be in the armed forces, could be teaching, could be anything at all.
What about discipline?
Discipline and teaching and learning. If you know, the more you study, that's going to help you.
Beautiful. What's the final words?
Well, I agree with Julian. Education is key to everything you do. So study, go to school, learn as much as you can about the world, about your chosen subject, and really strive to achieve something.
You listen to that? Mrs. Nowell says that education is the best way forward, and that can be manifested in Nelson Mandela's statement. He says that the more educated an individual is, the less arrogant and aggressive he or she becomes. So it is important that if we expect to change in the socio-economic narrative or paradigm of our respective nations, wake up and go to school. Get a life. Get something. You are endowed with talent, immeasurable skills, quality, and ability. It is binding on your shoulders to dig those talent, those skills, quality, and abilities inside of you so that you can be able to contribute to the Nkota to nation building. It's been a nice experience with you on Sembian's VIP Magazine TV. And this is The Conversation. Tony Get Howard alongside Mr. Julian Nowell and his beautiful wife, Hilary Nowell. Thank you so very much for forming part of our platform today.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.